Hi guys, Murray from Map Golf here again. I want to talk to you about wedge play. So I've done a little test the other day using these three wedges down the right hand side here. So it was my 50, my 54 and my 58-degree wedge. And the only objective that I was trying to do was just hit it 70 yards through the air, 70 yards carry, and see what would happen. Okay, so here's my three shots here. You can see the averages. 70 yards, bang on with the 58, the 54 just over 68 yards, and again the 50 degree wedge just over 68 yards. So they're all pretty much on the money. I want to just let you look at this data here, and I'm going to propose a question to you. If I was hitting a shot to a green and there was a towel laid out at 70 yards, which wedge do you think I would most likely hit the 70 yards with? So just have a think. So we've got a little towel, imagine 2 foot by 2 foot towel on the green at 70 yards. Which wedge out of the three do you think I'd be able to land on that towel 9 out of 10 times if I was so lucky? 9 out of 10 times. Which one do you think, looking at that data, I'd have the biggest chance? Okay, so I reckon the majority of you will be thinking the 58-degree wedge, because obviously my average is 70 yards. Okay? But what I want to propose to you is TrackMan has this consistency number here, which shows the deviation you are from your average. And if you're looking down here, 2.2 with the 58, 2.4 with the 54, and 1.2 with the 50-degree wedge. So what it's telling me is, with my 50-degree wedge, when I'm shooting for 70 yards, I'm hardly ever off the mark. Although my averages came down shy, I'm pretty much there or thereabout. With this here, I'm a little bit more off the mark with my 58-degree wedge. It'll make sense when I drop these down now. So 58-degree wedge, 1 at 73, 1 at 68, 1 at 67, 1 at 73, 1 at 68, 1 at 69.8, 1 at 72. Okay, when we look at the 50, I've got 1 at 69, 1 at 68, 1 at 70, 1 at 69.8, 1 at 67, 1 at 67. So although my average looks worse with the 50, if that towel was down, I would have hit it 1, 2, 3 times if it was online, as opposed to with the 58, I would have hit it once, maybe twice if you're including these ones, but I'm talking within a yard really. You know, we're talking about 2 foot, so within a yard. You can see here that my 50-degree wedge is much more on the money. Now if you look on the left screen now, I'll jump to the 58-degree wedge. Let's look at the launch of these. So we can see we've got some kind of low launching, middle launching, high, different flights here. Okay, now if we go to the 50-degree wedge, we're almost all overlapping now, so it's much more consistent. And with that consistency of launch and trajectory, you're going to develop feel. You're going to develop feel in how the ball is going to roll out. You're going to develop feel of what length of swing it takes to create that certain yardage, because they're all coming out very similar. So this is something I like to look at when I'm working on wedge play with my players, is the consistency. Now don't get me wrong, when you start looking deeper into the data, if you had a front pin at 70 yards, I wouldn't be recommending my players to hit a 50-degree wedge, because it rolls out 8 yards as opposed to just 4 with the 58. So these rolling out numbers are based on a PGA Tour style fairway, so obviously we would expect our 50-degree wedge to actually spin back, but it makes it, you know, consistent with all the other set of data. So we'll just roll with this one. So 4 yards, 6 yards here, 8 yards there. But if the sole purpose of the game was to try and land the ball on 70 yards in the middle of a green, I'd be reaching for my 50-degree wedge, because I know the consistency is much higher. This number is lower, which means I'm much more consistent at achieving that distance. Okay, so anyone is out there kind of thinking, well, what's my wedges doing when I'm shooting for 80 yards or shooting for 100 yards? Which am I better with, my 9-iron, my pitching wedge? Which one's going to give me more consistency of finding that mark? Well, give me a shout. I'd love to work with you. I'd love to help you with your wedge play. And I look forward to working with you.